Pollinated, a podcast where we share our pollinated experiences, insights, and invite others to do the same. By sharing our thoughts, our stories, and our perspectives, we hope to spread awareness and pollinate a healthier community, one conversation at a time. I am Samantha Brown, your host. I have invited two very special guests today. We've got Dr. Susan Elswick, Dr. Marissa Gray. So let's go ahead and begin because I'm so super excited. I know Susan and Marissa from Thistle and Bee, which is a nonprofit here in Memphis, Tennessee, helping women survivors of trafficking and addiction. If you would like some more information on Thistle and Bee, you can check out thistleandbee.org. And also, here's another thing. Let's go ahead and subscribe to this YouTube channel because it posts all kinds of stuff about Thistle and Bee events, but also this Pollinated podcast. So Dr. Elswick is chair of the School of Social Work at the University of Memphis and a leader in community behavioral health innovation, including telebehavioral health and integrated programming that bridges academia and practice. And Dr. Gray is a board-certified psychiatric mental health nurse practitioner and clinical assistant professor of mental health nursing whose work focuses on resilience, holistic care, and interdisciplinary collaboration in mental health practice. So both of these amazing colleagues, women, community members bring deep experience in integrated behavioral health, community partnerships, and collaborative approaches that improve support for not only survivors here at Thistle and Bee, how I know them, but also families and community members. Okay. I'd love to start by hearing how both of you got here. Like, what your positions are huge. And I'm very curious how it all began and what led you to this.
You want me to go first?
Hit it.
So I have been very blessed in my career to be able to use the skill sets that I've learned to not only practice directly, but also to support the next generation of clinicians that are coming through the pipeline. So really and truly, I started off as a direct practitioner. I was working largely in community-based mental health, providing service delivery and school-based programming, and just really love direct practice. I still really love direct practice. But as I started to grow as a clinician and I started doing mentoring and supervision, and I was like, how do I expand my reach, right? I can continue to see one child at a time, one family at a time, and help those individuals, which is great, but how can I expand that? So I actually started doing adjunct work initially with the University of Tennessee. Knoxville had a local Memphis location here, and so I was an adjunct. I graduated from that program, went back an adjunct for almost like 17 years. I adjunct with UT and really loved that part of giving back to the community in a different way. So teaching new clinicians and understanding how to do direct practice work and how things look one way in a book and they look something very different in clinical practice. And then I realized I really loved higher ed. And so I still do direct clinical work, even though I'm fully, employed at the University of Memphis now in the School of Social Work. I am a professor there, teach mostly the clinical courses across the program, but I still keep a direct practice piece. And so part of that is working with community organizations like Thistle and Bee. I also run a clinic on campus at the University of Memphis, which is a training clinic on campus where we give students an opportunity to kind of work under our practice, learn those skill sets, and then practice it before they graduate. So I get to do a little bit of both. But the reason I got into higher ed is because I really wanted to expand the reach and make sure that other practitioners had the skill sets necessary to better support the community. So that's how I got into higher ed, but I still love direct practice work.
I feel like she left off I don't know, she's like 1,000 things on there, but that was a good overview. Similarly, though, started with direct nursing care, bedside at Le Bonheur in neurology. And love those kiddos, love those families, but noticed how much more time was needed to really listen and address all of the other factors that were keeping people from going home and having successful outcomes. And then also noticing just really interactions with healthcare can be stressful, if not traumatizing. when your kiddo's suffering in the hospital. There's just a lot going on there. And I loved the work that social work was doing, child life was doing, but really wanted to be a little bit more involved in the mental health side. So went to work for youth villages for several years and did nursing supervising work there and some training, built some programs out for the youth there around mindfulness and resilience in hopes that those models would not just support the kiddos, but also the people taking care of those kiddos, because we were all kind of trying to do that as a team approach. And very similar to what Susan said, noticed that I wanted a little bit of a different seat at the table as far as how care was being delivered, more so in a trauma-informed way and kind of that bigger context of how we're taking care of people and how we're offering services. So I went back to school, got my doctorate from UT, loved that program. There was a lot of research embedded into that program and learned the value of who's doing the research really impacts what the evidence-based care looks like. So wanted a seat at that table then too. So I just kind of was like, oh, I want a piece of this and I want a piece of that. And then was practicing as a nurse practitioner, helped a rural West Tennessee community health program build a specific child and adolescent clinic here in Memphis to address specifically just our kiddos and have a space safe for them that's not mixed in with grown-ups, right? Just so that they could have their own space. And then got an opportunity to come teach at the university. And then I met Susan and my life changed. And now I just try to, like I said, follow her around, and she introduces me to people. And I just feel like, oh, well, there's just tons of opportunities out there to do this work on all the different levels, interprofessionally, interdisciplinarily, and build those teams. Because what I'm noticing is, yes, I love the direct care, but I cannot do this by myself. We were meant to be in a village. We are stronger together. And so that's where my cup gets filled up.
Yeah.
Both of you are involved in the community, connecting with many different places here in Memphis. I'm like fascinated at all the different organizations and just how you got connected or what you're doing there.
So I think I love community-based. I love it. I love connecting with the community, and also even after I got into higher education, understanding that the relationships that I have in the community, I don't want a one and done relationship. Like, I don't want to do research or, because we have organizations that'll reach out to us and say, we want to do a program evaluation. Would you mind helping us? It's more than that. So it might start that way where somebody reaches out and asks for assistance. My goal is for that to be a continued relationship, not a one and done. Like, if you reach out to me, then we're connected. We're connected for forever, for whatever you need. And so I think that's really how a lot of my partnerships really got developed, is being in the community. I love being in the community. I'm very passionate about helping any organization that is trying to break down barriers to behavioral and mental health services that are innovative, that want to make sure that we're providing the best services we can to the children, family, and the community. And so when I meet an organization that's doing that, it's like the synergy happens. Like it's very exciting because the wheels start turning. And so really and truly, I have a lot of connections in the community, and it really has been just throughout my lifetime. I mean, like, church health is a really big part of my community. A lot of the schools in the district I work with, whether it's charter schools or the direct Memphis Shelby County schools or the municipals. Refugee Empowerment Program is a beautiful organization that I work with pretty frequently. Hospitality Hub, Thistle and Bee. I mean, all of these organizations have very similar mission, which is meet people where they are, make sure that they have access to service delivery, and that we're doing what we can to better their lives. And so I kind of get connected through those avenues. Like, if somebody's worked with me in the past, they might mention to another organization, well, that's how I got connected to Hospitality Hub. Marissa was like, oh my gosh, well, you need to meet Susan. And I think that happens a lot, though, because when you are working in an interdisciplinary relationship and you do gel well together and you have this similar mission and vision for what you think is best practice, you end up in the same circles. And so I think that happens a lot.
Yes.
And so I'm very blessed to be able to work with wonderful organizations in the community. And really and truly, Memphis is my community. Like, this is my city. These are my people. And so I want our city to be healthy. And so at any point in time, whatever I can do to be part of that I'm going to do that. So I always love new connections, learning about new programs. And yeah, I think it's the people you surround yourself with, right? So if you're surrounding yourself with people that have similar missions, ideas, thoughts, and beliefs, then that kind of those relationships and networks are just going to organically happen, I think.
I agree. I completely agree. I do. I try to follow. I said that I try to follow her around and meet the people that she knows. But I think it's that alignment in your why, and I think that you can figure that out pretty soon with the people that you're talking to and that you're working with. I knew that immediately when you and I met, and we were trying to build, this mental health piece to Thistle and Bee. And really quickly if it's not going to be a good fit, and that's okay because there's lots of different ways to solve lots of different problems. But I am grateful for the networking that I have been invited into, the spaces that I've been invited into, because I want to keep learning. And that's probably, I think, the part that I want to stay most curious about is how other people are doing it, how they're looking at it. I ask questions all the time, like, "Oh, I saw this. Why do you think they're doing it this way?" So that I can keep having more tools in my toolbox because I'm at the beginning of this journey and I want to stay humble, I guess. Yeah.
Is there anyone or anything in particular that kind of influenced you to get on this journey?
So I will say, for me, like I think we all have a story, like a why we do what we do. Um, when I remember being very young, and I always wanted to be in a helping profession. I always knew that. I really thought I was going to be a pediatrician. That's what I thought I was going to be. And then I took chemistry, and then that was not my jam. And so I ended up not taking that path. But like I always wanted to be in a profession that was giving back to somebody else. Like I feel like that, and my purpose in life really is helping people along their journey, whatever that looks like. And I think over my career, it shifted. I started off as child adolescent only, and then I recognized that there was this opportunity to work with couples and families as a whole and adults, and I love all of those. So I can serve infancy all the way through adulthood, and I love every part of all of that, and that holistic approach to, instead of just focusing on one developmental stage, understanding that when kids come in, they come with families, and it's not just, they're not just this little kid that I'm seeing in a session. I've got to be able to communicate and integrate that family model of practice into what I'm doing. So, always had a passion for helping other people. And then I took my first psychology class in undergrad, and I was hooked. I was like, this is amazing, and like such a great and interest. I didn't even know what social work was at that point. So I finished my undergrad in psychology, and then decided I wanted to do something more because I really wanted to be able to. I was working as a case manager in a community mental health agency, and I was working in a residential facility as a behavior tech.
Okay.
And I was like, I really love this, but I want to be the person that's in the room with the kid and doing the therapy. And so I knew I was going to have to go back and get a master's degree. And that's when I was introduced to social work. And I was like, I don't even know what this is. And so the more I learned about it, I was like, oh, that fits my values and the way I see the world and how I believe humans should be treated. I really felt like was in line with what I wanted to do. And so, and throughout, all of us have stories, like our own personal stories in our families, like addiction has been something that my family has been impacted by. And so I think that's part of my why do I give back to programs that focus on addiction and recovery work, because that is something that my family has had impact from. And why do I continue to work with children and adolescents? Because one, I just love that developmental stage, but such a great opportunity, they're so young, to give them this ability to to really live full lives. And so having that early intervention piece, I love working with little bitties, 3-year-olds, pre-K, those, I love that because you can catch them on the front end and provide services. But there's benefit to service delivery across the lifespan.
Sure.
And so, maybe I didn't get to, I'm now working with a 21-year-old woman who I didn't get to see when she was 3, right? So she's in a different part of her journey, but I can still be part of that healing process too. So we all have a why, I think. I think I was drawn to this profession because I think it's innately what I've always wanted to do, is to help people. But mental health, addiction, are something that most families are going to struggle with. And so being able to say that I'm able to give back and help another family through something that I've been challenged with, or my family has been challenged with, also that's I think a really important piece of the programming. So that's my kind of why.
Love that. No, and it's interesting, right? Because we do have these moments in our life that either get us invested into wanting to solve that problem or kind of like turn us away from it. And I think that's a personality type that we're kind of like, oh, there's a fire, we're gonna run to it. Whatever you want to. But it happens, and I think it happens throughout our life. Little bits and pieces kind of impact that. And similarly, I've had those things impact my family, for me personally as a child growing up, and then also in my adult life, and through my husband's health battle with cancer, and really just trying to kind of navigate who I wanted to be in the world, and then who I wanted to be in the world as a mother, and how to kind of find that balance, which everybody here has met my kid. She's a big part of my why. Yes, she's a hoot, and she's gonna rock the world.
Yes.
And I realized too that the helping giving professions, I learned this really early on in nursing. It can be hard to maintain those boundaries and that and sustain your own ability to give, and avoid moral injury and those things. And so part of the mental health piece for me wasn't just for how I could provide services, but also how I could build up my colleagues and how I could support these long healing traditions that I think had a little bit more support embedded in them intrinsically before they became hospital insurance impacted, and really kind of go back to that drawing board as far as we got to build each other up. We got to take care of each other. So part of my teaching model for future nurses is hey, all this information is great for who you're taking care of, and it's also great for you and how you're going to take care of yourself and your partner sitting next to you, because otherwise we can't keep doing the work. And so that was a big piece of my life.
So what do y'all do for self-care, and what is some advice for people in taking care of yourself, in juggling all the responsibilities, especially when you are a person that likes to put out fires?
I'm not great at self-care. I have been, I will tell you, over the last 3 years, I have really shifted. You'd be proud of me. I've really done a good job. But historically, I'm not great at saying no. Because there's this guilt piece that comes up.
That's the first step.
Yeah.
Being able to say no.
Because
that is self-care.
when you're in the helping profession, it's you always feel like you're on.
Yes.
You always have to be the yes person. You always have to be the one that's solving the problem. And and I will say, later in my career, I did a lot more reflective supervision. Dr. Minnie Cronenberg, I'm gonna give her a shout out. She's awesome. Really helped me to try to navigate. In order to take care of others, you have to take care of yourself, and setting healthy boundaries is a good way to do that. But also being in this really reflective place of, why do I push myself so intensely? There's a reason why that happens and why we're driven that way, and being okay with that not being my story any longer, even though it has been a large part of the story of my life. And my kids will tell you I'm not great at setting boundaries. And so over the years, listening to them, hearing them, also recognizing in myself that, sure, I can do a million things, but is that the best use of my time, right? And also knowing that I can't always be the one to do it. So training up these new clinicians gives me space to be able to go, you've got this, and I can back out of this now because there's someone else that can take it from here. So I'm better than I used to be. And I think you know this, Sam, I love artwork. I love to paint. So painting is kind of one of my things that I do to kind of relax. I love to dance. So I'm a dancer. I'm part of the Hot Foot Honeys. Another shout out.
Hello, Hot Foot.
Little Hot Foot Honey doing a little tap dancing. So I enjoy that. And I take classes at Ballet Memphis. And, so art's a big part of my life, writing poetry, drawing, painting, dancing. I play the trumpet, so I'm part of the Bartlett Community Band.
Hello.
So those are my happies.
She's gonna add tennis to the list.
We're gonna play tennis. I do play pickleball, and I'm pretty good at it. But yes, we're gonna play tennis.
Gonna add some tennis to that list. Yes.
And you have a now correct me if I'm wrong. Do you have an art class coming up?
I do. Yeah. So this LMB, we try to host 1 or 2 a year. We did a watercolor class last year,
which was beautiful,
and
it was amazing.
So much fun. It's so much fun. So we're going to do another one. Actually, this spring we're going to have one in March, and we're going to do one a little bit later on. But just kind of, you don't have to be an artist to do it. Right.
Are you gonna teach it?
I'm going to teach it.
I saw other people's, I saw hers, other people's that went there. They look like they're artists. Like, and
everybody did so great. They did.
It was beautiful. I mean, like,
yours will be beautiful.
They could have put it up on the shelf and sold it that day. Like, I was like, I missed this. This was a missing moment, like, for sure.
So we're gonna do another one. We're gonna and so I love doing that, and I love sharing that with the community. And but that's kind of my go-to relaxation things that give, and then being with people that I love. I really say that, like, spending downtime, like being okay with not doing anything is really challenging for me. But with the right people in your life, you learn that that's okay to let go and to sit down for a second. You don't have to be busy all the time. And so, but I would say in the last 3 years, I've really regain that in my life. Like, it was missing for a really long time. And so, and I know it's helping because I have people that'll see me, they haven't seen me in a really long time, and they're like, oh my gosh, you look like so rejuvenated. I'm like, thanks. What does that mean? But yeah, so taking care of yourself is super important, right?
I woke up like this. This isn't even a facial.
So I feel like you definitely have to spend time doing the things you love and being around the people that you love, because it does heal you. But many of us in the working profession, and when we're navigating being a mother and a professional, you lose some of that. And so recognizing that you've lost it and then being able to pick it back up is a skill set that I think women are more challenged with in our profession than others, because there are going to be ebbs and flows throughout your career where your family's going to need more time than your profession. And there's going to be other times where you're going to have to spend a little bit more time with your profession and understand that, some other things have to go. But that's a challenge I think all women especially experience. So,
well, and then you need to add travel.
Yes, and I do love to travel now. I used to not love to travel.
Hello. She's rubbing off on me. Like,
that's why I thought this would be interesting, because you just got back and you're on the go.
I'm going to go ahead and tell you, but if you knew me, all the people at University of Memphis that work with me used to pick on me because they were like, you won't fly anywhere. No, I will drive to South Dakota. I've driven to California. They thought I didn't like to fly. And I was like, no. It's because I was always taking my kids with me. Right. So I can't fly, 5 people somewhere, but I can drive us all. And so we would get in a car and they would come with me on conferences and trainings and stuff. And so I actually always loved to travel, but I never did fly anywhere. People thought I was afraid to fly, but that's not the case. But now
you're like, let's go.
I fly all the time and everywhere and get to go to all these really wonderful places with wonderful humans that are presenting with me at conferences and stuff.
Yeah, so. I'm trying to put a tag in there to start adding me to some of those things, because I want to come with.
I know. Well,
we're working on it. I know. I'm supposed to be in Portugal. Still working on that one. Yeah. So seconding everything she just said, the balance is real. Self-care is ebbing and flowing for me. I think I'm in one of those periods of my life where I'm trying to reflect on, is it too much? Because I can feel it. I can feel when I'm like, oh, my brain is not turning off. It's not slowing down. Or I'm waking up with the do as soon as I get going. She tells me all the time to simplify. Mary Oliver, I'm a big fan of her poetry, and the you do not have to walk on your knees in the desert for 100 years. Whatever this idea is, and I don't want to blame it on the South, and I don't want to blame it on religion, but I do feel like females carry this kind of martyrdom of you have to be everything for everybody, and you just have to be able to give that. Whether it's time to cook spaghetti or, walk the dog or, write the paper or whatever.
Drive across country for the
job. Everybody. Yes. And then still, put a smile on your face while you're doing it.
Oh, yeah.
And not look tired. And you're like, well, something's got to give.
Yeah.
And so I'm really reflecting on that piece and what I want to put my energy towards. And it is, for me, it's the meaningful relationship. So the profession is one thing, and I think that carries a gift with it as you earn that respect in the community. But for me, it's the relationships that I'm building, because I think that when I kind of whittle it down to my why, it's I really want people to feel loved. And I think that is part of the healing process for mental health, is so that you feel like you deserve to be loved, that you can value yourself. And I think that's what I'm trying to build.
I love that you said that, because I'm not sure if you are aware, but that is one of Thistle and Bee's mottos, is that love heals. Tell us a little bit of what's coming up in your life.
Yes. Well, Sam, you're coming with me to one of these, but We actually, with the support of the Iris Collective, which we really appreciate that collaboration that we have, we went last year and were trained in something called the Lullaby Project by Carnegie Hall, and had the ability to bring that intervention back here to the Memphis region. And so we were lucky enough to get to work with the Iris Collective here at Thistle and Bee, and we hosted a lullaby project where the women in our program got to participate in the intervention, where they get to write a lullaby to someone in their life where there was some type of a rupture. And that rupture is an attempt to repair that relationship. And so it's basically healing in music form. And it's this ability to continue that therapeutic work that the women are doing, but in a more expressive arts way, and in a way that they can give back slightly differently other than just saying words, right? It's giving it back in kind of this lullaby context. But so we were really lucky to finish that project. It went really well. The women, the songs are available out on the Iris Collective website. You can hear the lullabies that the women created. But we're actually going to present that at a prescribing arts conference in Greece this year. And so we're going to be going and traveling there and explaining the work that we did and the outcomes that we had within our program. And then the Iris Collective is expanding that. They're going to be working with several other programs in the region to continue that lullaby project work. So that's my next travel will be for that. And then also looking to going to a positive psychology conference sometime in the summer, and that will hopefully be in Ireland if we get accepted and get to go. But there's lots of opportunities to expand the research and work that we're doing here locally. I love local conferences too, though. I do a lot of travel in the state, a lot of travel, just domestically too, just to kind of expand knowledge on what's happening in our community, the types of services that we offer, and what's working for families. So I do love presentations. I enjoy that. I'm glad you're going to be going with us.
I am too.
To do
so glad.
It's not too late to add somebody else in your suitcase. Just putting that out there. I'm a great assistant. I know how to get coffee. This is inspiring me. We were working on a collaborative study abroad program between the College of Social Work and the College of Nursing to Paris this summer to embed our students into integrative healthcare so that they could have an interdisciplinary viewpoint of how an international healthcare system works. One that I'm a big fan of because it is so person-centered already. And they're gonna go with Professor Katie Norwood. And then I'll hopefully get to shadow a little piece of that and then grow that program and have 2 faculty go next year. We are presenting some of our work from the University Schools Wellness Center program that we're doing on the West Coast this spring. So that'll be exciting, kind of working with other educational groups across the country to see how we can continue to provide boots on the ground services for our students so that they don't have to miss school, so that it doesn't have to be stigmatized, and so that we can really work with educational systems to, how do you say this politically correct? Reimagine how education can be delivered in a kid-focused way, developmentally appropriate, but also really kind of meeting the kid where they're at, addressing any developmental concerns that there are, mental health concerns, nutrition, ability, all of those things, in a very family-focused and kids-focused way. So that's part of it. And then we are starting a psychiatric nurse practitioner program at the university in the College of Nursing. And so getting that up and going will be kind of my focus for like the next year
and
or
that's so exciting for the community that we need it.
I'm excited. I really am. It's a big responsibility because I feel like there's the knowledge piece to all of our practice, but then there's this reflective piece of what is your why and how are you going to continue to keep learning and growing. And so kind of keeping them plugged into that is my goal.
How do you know when something's no longer working? And is there anything in particular that's happening here in Memphis that is no longer working and that the community really needs to start trying to bridge those gaps?
So I think in our profession, we're always looking for where are the gaps. And that's where we kind of decide what is it that the community needs. And so I think both of our professions do a really great job with evaluating the community. Like the community should be telling us what they need, right? It's not the other way around. Like what is it that you don't have access to, or that's missing? And then our job is to figure out how to bring those solutions to the community collaboratively. And so and I know you were like this too. We very much need the community to be the voice of what is necessary and what's needed instead of the other way around. And I think for a really long time, education, higher ed has always been, let me tell you what you need. And that's a really faulty method. And so one of the reasons I love University of Memphis, and actually one of the reasons I was very drawn there, is because we definitely believe what we call it engaged scholarship. Mm-hmm. I'm not just doing research because, right? That I'm doing research and supporting a community. And that is why building relationships, everything we do is about building relationships. It really is. Yeah. It's in our clinical practice, it's in my personal life, it's in higher ed, right? If you can't build healthy relationships that are meaningful, you won't be successful. And when you kind of think about, like you were talking about, love being part of our journey, it really is like just being a kind human and loving people and knowing that at its core, the community knows how to heal itself. Right. We just have to be present, and we might have to gather resources for them to do that, but they don't need somebody telling them what to do. Right. And so, and I think we both lead from that piece that it really should be, how can I be part of the journey? I am not the person that is leading it. Like, you have what you need in order to be successful. I just might have to help find some of those resources so that pathway is easier for you to navigate. So it's always about listening to the community. It's about hearing what the needs are, where are the gaps in service delivery around everything, and then what can I do to bring that to our community? And sometimes it's policy work, right? And so I would think early in my career, I didn't do a lot of policy stuff. I was very much a direct practitioner. That's all I really cared about. Let me do the work. And then later in my career, I recognized I can't be just a micro practitioner. I'm going to have to be part of the policy side of things too. And I think that's kind of where some of my networking came into play, because I started sitting on these policy committees and being part of programming at the state level or nationally, that I could start to see, oh, wow, this isn't just an issue here. Right. It's a national issue, or it's a concern, globally. And so I really do kind of feel like if you're listening to what it is that the community needs, they will tell you.
Oh, yeah.
And so I think for far too long, we've had people telling the community what they need, and it really needs to be the other way around. So,
totally in agreement. The top-down approach, or this idea that I, even as a practitioner, should tell my patient what is wrong or what the problem is. Not only are we not empowering, but I don't know. I'm not walking in their shoes. I'm not living in their body. I can educate with the science of what I've learned of the biology and the neurobiology of how things are affected. But I'm a big fan of partnerships. And I want to partner with either my patient or a team or a colleague or the community, and be first and foremost a good listener. And then and noticing, like, this is what I'm seeing, so that if you build that give and take, people are more open to your feedback and to what you're willing to kind of speak to, as far as like, oh, I'm noticing that this isn't really kind of flowing really well. Or, this is what the research is showing. Is there a way that we can ask these questions to get us more direct information for what you're asking for? So I second that.
I am so glad to hear that, because so often going to, mainly it was community clinics, I would go in, and it always did feel as if I was being told, like, oh, no. Here, just take this. I'm going to prescribe you this. And it's like, I've already been told this, but this is my third time coming to you about this. This isn't helping me. I don't even understand what's going on. So it's really refreshing, especially because, I have now come to know that, sometimes I will listen to people that are leaders in the community, and I will take what they say for my reality. And so it's refreshing to hear people say, that I don't have the answers. The answer's inside of you. I'm here to be a part of that journey. I'm here to collaborate. I'm here to have a team. I'm here to offer insight. And so I'm just I'm so glad that I know y'all, but I'm even more glad that y'all are out in the community doing the work, teaching others. And I'm super excited to see all the next people to come that y'all are investing in, and the work that they're going to bring, because y'all are bringing great work already. And so it's exciting to know that there's so many people that's learning from you both.
Well, I'm telling you, I love, and I know you do too, I love supervising students and working with new graduates, like, and now they're in the clinical. You learn so much from them.
Yes.
I love supervision. I love it. When I miss supervision because I'm out of town or something, I'm like, I miss it. Because students will bring in specific, topics that they want to talk about and just sit back for a second. And they have such beautiful solutions. And I'm like, yes. And so learning from them too, because like that, I always want our students to be empowered because they bring a lot to the table. Many of them are working practitioners already and they have great clinical skills. And so, I love collaboration and I love interdisciplinary collaboration. And I think that's one of the things that brings me a lot of joy in working in higher ed is not just staying in this one social work bubble, but like, how can I expand that experience to work with somebody in computer sciences or somebody that's in, public health or, and because there's opportunities where we each bring this perspective, but if we sit down holistically and look at a solution to a problem, it's a much more powerful solution than just sitting and looking at it from one perspective. So I really do value interdisciplinary collaboration, and whenever I can do that. Also, I think that's why clinics like Thistle and Bees, the Wellness Center, I really think that's why the Healing Hive and Wellness Center works so well, because it is an interdisciplinary collaboration. It's not just, we're only going to focus on the clinical piece. We look at the individual holistically, like how are we ensuring that, nutrition is something that they're looking at, that they're, exercising if that's something that they're interested in doing, that we're adding in the medication piece if they're looking for that they get the mental health supports that they need, as well as workforce development. Like it's a whole, and our team's huge. And so we're small, but mighty. We'll say that.
We have a lot of pieces.
We're small, but mighty. But like, how we work together with production and Nani and Laura and how to ensure that the women are successful in the production side of things. And then they're always interested in, how are things going in the clinical side and what can they do to support. So I really feel like that approach, that wraparound approach to service delivery is beautifully exampled in what Thistle and Bee does. And so, and I'm so excited that we had the opportunity to launch the outpatient clinic because, that Thistle and Bee has been a great program for years and years and years as a residential program, but to now expand our service delivery to be prevention, intervention, and postvention and offer it to a larger audience. And so I'm very thankful to be part of that and what Thistle and Bee's been able to accomplish. And so, and we couldn't do that without all these other colleagues that are putting forth the effort and clinicians that we brought in and interdisciplinary collaboration opportunities. So I just really feel like this is the very beginning of a beautiful journey for Thistle and Bee, and I'm just very thankful that I got to be a part of that process. So
me as well. Thank you for inviting me.
Yes. I'm so glad that both of y'all are here. I'm so glad. And not here as in the podcast. Yes, I love that. But like you said, like the Healing Hive and Wellness Center, it was so needed. It was something that we talked about, and it just it was meant to be. It just came out of nowhere all of a sudden. It was like, hey, that idea we've had? Like, here's the space, and we're going to do a ribbon cutting in 2 weeks. Yeah. And it's just beautiful how the universe brought you here, and it just works so well. And for people who don't know, holistic care, it's just overall wellness. Is that how you describe it?
Yeah. The whole person. Yeah. So we're no longer treating people like they're a car. Like, oh, I'm just going to work on the tires. You go work on the engine. We're going to look at the whole person. And that, I think that Western medicine got very siloed really quickly because we had to specialize in things. And I'm grateful for the specialties. I'm grateful for the knowledge that we've built. But that's not effective if we're not working together, if we're not communicating, if we're not looking at that whole person. And it works the same way for community health. If we're just looking at this one little piece and we're like, oh, we're just going to fix this one little piece, or we're going to just target our interventions on this one little piece. Well, that's not a living ecosystem of any kind of healing process. Yeah. And so that's the beauty of what you guys have built here and what I get to be a part of.
Okay, so now that we are about to be wrapping up, I'm so glad. I hate to end the conversation, period. I could sit here. I could sit here all day with both of you, but is there any message you'd like to share with our community professionals or those impacted by issues here in Memphis?
Oh, I see how that goes.
What's your final thoughts?
We're not alone. We're really not alone. And if I have learned anything about this great city that we live in, that I was raised in. The narrative that I think was predominant about it being unsafe,
Yeah.
or about it being rife with so many socioeconomic problems. I think that negative narrative was just so big. If I've learned anything by the work that I've been doing, it's the opposite. There are so many people that are working tirelessly to be a part of the solution, to partner, to meet people where they are, to see people as human, to break down racism, to break down so many stories that I think Memphis it's been told about that's just really not true. I meet new people every day that are doing amazing work that I have never heard of. And it just inspires me. I think Memphis is one of the most inspiring places on this planet, just because of the love that we show each other. And we talk about our great food all the time, and that's a real thing. But there's a love piece to this city that is just, you can feel, it's tangible. You can feel it as soon as you just step out, and you step out of your comfort zone, and you just get to know people. And so that would be what I would say.
Great food, great people.
Yes.
Yes. And I will say, like, what we do is heavy work.
Oh yeah.
And and the issues that our community faces, these are heavy things. And so it can quickly feel very overwhelming. And almost as if, are we making a difference? And I want everyone to know that it is doing the hard work, that we are making a difference, and, being with people that are like-minded is an important thing. So if you feel like you are lost in a sea of, this is like, too much to handle, too much to bear, there are people that live in your circles that want to be part of those conversations about healing and hope, because we can't do this work if we don't have that vision of healing and hope and future. But I know that lots of things can be really heavy, and it's hard to see the positive sometimes and the things that we see and we experience on a daily basis. But surround yourself with those people that are innovative, visionaries, that see the good in the world, because there is a lot of things that are hard to look at. And so I have hope, and I want to be around other people that are hopeful and have that vision and thought. And so that's why I surround myself by really good people, and they keep me uplifted. And even when things are really rough and really hard, I know that the next thing is going to be even better. And so just, not to get discouraged, because I know that especially new clinicians, when they get out, it can be very overwhelming. And there's a lot of trauma embedded in what we do. And so that self-care piece is super important, but also find your tribe, find your group, find your people, and they'll help to keep you uplifted even when things are really super tough. And so I think that's just in general life, right?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what I was going to say for the listeners. Like, you don't have to be a clinician or in the helping field. Like, this is amazing suggestions, advice, discussion. Surround yourself with people. Like, I'm going to continue to keep inviting people to sit here and have these conversations. I'm going to continue to keep sharing this podcast out so more people who have love in their heart, that's wanting to bring change, and that care about Memphis, because I agree. I love Memphis. I've never felt more at home than I have in this community. And yes, I feel as if there is this narrative that so many people will say, more so people outside of Memphis than here, and they're like, why? And I've not, like, yes, I see what they say on the news in the morning. Yep, something is happening. But there is so much good. I see so much good every single day in people like y'all, different organizations like y'all have mentioned. And I'm just so glad that we're all here pollinating with our conversations and tuning in to make Memphis a healthier place, and make ourselves our families. It is such a ripple effect. I truly believe that. And I just want to thank you both.
Thank you, Sam.
So much. I'm sure if our viewers could say so, they'd want to thank you too for all the amazing things that y'all are bringing forth to Memphis and other change makers. And if you've liked what you've heard today and you would like to continue to hear other people's pollinated opinions, please go ahead. It's completely free. Subscribe to this YouTube channel. It will not only be showing you different episodes of the podcast Pollinated, but it will also keep you up to date with an amazing nonprofit here in Memphis doing some extra like hard work, Thistle and Bee. So like the video, subscribe, and tune in next time.